Welcome to Angel Heart Radio. I'm Annette McCoy. Joining me today is the lovely Marie Brunger.
Hi.
Hello, Marie. Thank you so much for joining us. Marie, thank you for joining us. And whoever happens to be in our audience today, thank you for choosing to come and watch Marie and I. And we hope that you're going to join in the conversation. So wherever you might be at the moment, if you'd like to come over to Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, then you can join us and put in your comments, ask your questions. We love the interaction.
Definitely.
May I remind you all that these shows should never replace your legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. Well, here we are, Marie, talking about lockdowns and restrictions and what they might mean for us.
Interesting.
Yes, how they can reflect on our own limitations.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be a quarter of a century ago when I first learned about when I was starting my real growth, what I call my real growth. And it was Wayne Dyer who I first heard say this: change the way you think and the things that you think about will change. And that's an interesting concept. And although intellectually it makes sense, it takes practice to be able to do that, particularly when we're being hit with a crisis. It's very easy to slide in and point the finger and, oh, wow, and poor me and everything. And yet, if we can say, okay, this is what I've learned to do, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but so long as we're moving forward, it's great to ask, well, how else can I see this? I'm seeing this, but how else can I see this? How can I see this for my greater good? How can I see this for the good of the whole? How else can I see this in a loving way? And so when we start to look at something like the pandemic, the COVID that's going through now, I've had to ask that. And it's been a very difficult one to ask, because I've found myself sliding over here and being able to see it this way and then sliding back and going, oh, woe is me. But really and truly, the way I see, we'll start off with the pandemic as a whole, and then we can go down to masks and the lockdowns and things, if that's all right with you. So now I can see COVID as not a problem. Not a problem. The whole pandemic's not a problem. I see it as a solution. I see it as a blessing, and I see it as a solution to a much greater problem, and that is the problem of fear. And to me, that's the real pandemic. The real pandemic is the fear that's been spread around the world, and most of us, I don't think anybody's exempt to that at all. I think to one degree or another, but I think no one's exempt from that. And so I think this is a whole message for us to have a look at, are we coming from love or are we coming from fear? What's driving our life right now, our individual life? What are we seeing in the world right now? And so I believe that what we're looking at here is a vast opportunity for us to make some new choices, to get out of fear and back into love, to come home to love. Because when you look at our world, fear's been driving our world for a very long time, through wars, through terrorism, and through natural disasters. And through all of those, there's been some really important messages that we seem to get after. For example, the natural disasters. When that happens, it's like people open their hearts, they throw down their boundaries, they come up with a generosity of heart and spirit and pockets, and they give. And then when it's over, we generally go back to our normal way of life. Even though we might say at the time, we'll never let this happen again, but we go back to our normal way of life and we forget the message. And the message is simply, I believe, to be kind. Let's all of the time. Let's not have a kind day next week or a kind day a year. Let's all be kind. And if you brought it back to that alone, this world would be a different world. It would be, wouldn't it?
Yes, I love the way you talk about being kind, because it's really important that we are kind to ourselves. How many of us hop on the treadmill and we don't realize that we're on the treadmill? And I think that's something that hopefully a lot of people have realized through COVID. People are
Yes,
working from home, realizing that they can have more time, that their time can be better spent
yes,
than using it traveling, hours at a time
yes.
to get to a workplace.
And they
So,
have.
yes, so we are learning, I believe, to do things differently. And yes, so to be kind, I agree with you. It's a bit like anything where we have a special day. Why do we have to have a special day? It's so important for these kinds of things to become habit, that we don't have to think about being kind to ourselves. We automatically treat ourselves kindly.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that if we woke up every morning and made a declaration, today I just choose to be kind. What a
Mm,
great way to start the day. If we
mm,
start declaring this, then it has to happen. As you pointed out, the most important person we have to do is be kind to ourselves, because then we've got the kindness within us to hand out. We've all got it. It's a
mm,
matter of projecting that kindness out into the world. And it seems that we do it mostly when there's a disaster or
mhm.
something going on in our world. Well, if we did it on a day-to-day basis, we probably wouldn't have those disasters.
That ain't that the truth. We look at what's happening in the world today, and it's as though it's been forced upon us because we have been ignorant for so long.
Yes, and I think that's exactly. We keep avoiding the truth. To me, we keep avoiding. It's easier to push things over there, or to hand our responsibilities over to other people, or and we declare we want to be independent, but how often are we giving our responsibilities to others and becoming dependent on people
Mm,
or events or circumstances outside of ourselves? I mean, for me, independence is about going within and trusting and depending on what's in here, because for me, that's our power.
mm, mm,
And the moment we step out of that and we hand over our responsibilities and control to someone on the outside world, that's not independence. We become dependent on those people, and then quite often that becomes control. And we're seeing a lot of that happening right now.
mm, mm. Well, I figure a lot of us forget to come back to source, where
Yeah,
it's too easy, the mind chatter. We tend to believe what we're being told and as gospel, rather than going, oh, okay, how does that sit with me?
yeah,
Is that true for me? Because just because it's true for others or it's purported to be true doesn't
yeah.
necessarily make that true for me.
And aren't we seeing that for the moment? When we look at people that are for the vaccine, for the masks, for the isolation, for the separation, when you look at it, what is it that they're looking for? They're looking for wanting to feel safe and protected, and they want their freedom, and that's why they do it. And then there's the other side of the fence that don't want the vaccines. They don't believe in the mask. They don't believe in isolation. And what are they looking for? Exactly the same thing: freedom, safety, protection, and independence. So we're looking for the same thing, even though we're coming from a different place. Are people that want the vaccine wrong? No. People that don't want the vaccine, wrong. Yet somehow we've created a division within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And when you look at just the restrictions we talk about, and you take, first of all, with masks, and we ask ourselves, what does this reflect back to me, a mask? Now, when I put a mask on, I felt suffocated. I felt like I was being gagged. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I couldn't breathe. And I felt like I wasn't unable to express myself and let people see who I was. It wasn't the mask. That's what was going on inside of me. The mask was just showing me what was going inside of me. And I have to admit, for a lot of my life, that's exactly how I've been. I haven't been putting myself out there. I haven't spoken the way I've wanted to or expressed the way. So the mask actually showed me what was already going on inside of me. Nothing out there actually can control us unless we let it. So even people with anxiety, and there are lots of people that can't wear them for anxiety, but in truth, the mask doesn't cause their anxiety, it reveals their anxiety. Wow. The world we see out there doesn't cause us fear, it reveals the fear that we already carry in here. It's that opportunity to say, I'm in fear, we can let this go, we can come back and align with source. So then you go on and you look at, for example, the separation, right? The distancing. Let's have a look at the distancing and this. Who are we distancing ourselves from? Who are we separating, dividing ourselves from? Are we not, when you bring that back inside, we're separating ourselves, we've been separated, let's call it this way, from our loved ones, from the things we love to do. We've been separated from the joy of life. If you bring that back to self, how are we doing that to ourselves? How have we disconnected with the joy of life? How have we disconnected for the love of self? By going out doing things that we think we should be doing to earn an income, to do whatever it is that we feel we need to do, rather than doing what we love to do, rather than tuning into the joy of life and living that way, because we all get caught up on the shoulds.
Oh yes, I heard that word and I went, should. Yeah. I'm very aware, Marie, when and how I use that word these days. And if I find that I've tried to take it right out of my vocabulary. If I hear myself saying I should do, I change it immediately. Yes. I wish to. And if that statement isn't still true, then I don't do it.
Yeah. And I think it's really, I know that when we go through a fear, like when fear pops up, for most of us, we can act on that fear. All right, we can go out and act on that sense of fear, or we can sit with that fear and let it move through us and look at what's really going on for us. What are we really afraid of? And then we get to choose again. Do I want to now act? Once that fear is cleared, we can then choose again. And it's okay if we still choose the same action, terrific. But are we coming from love or are we coming from fear? And the outcomes are likely to be totally different. So so with you, if we're saying I should do this and I should do that, ask, where's this coming from? Where is this truly coming from? Should I really be doing this, and why should I? What else would I like? And I still find myself doing that when I'm sitting in the sun reading a book sometimes, or got caught up doing this beautiful jigsaw puzzle. Oh, really, I should be doing something.
Yeah.
I should stop this now and I should be doing something. And I don't even know what that something is. But it's like, where's the permission to go? And then I have to say to myself, why? Why do I should I stop doing what I love doing right now to go and do something that I don't even know what there is to do, you know? And how important is it? You know, how important is it that I need to do that? And Neil Donald Walsh recently said that 80% of the people spend 80% of their time doing what is not important. And I think that is, how true. And we think about 80% of our time, we think about something that's not important. As you said, the old mind chatter goes on. I should be doing something else. Like what? Well, I don't know, but probably shouldn't be doing this jigsaw puzzle. It's crazy.
It's interesting, isn't it, how we do put these limitations or these restrictions, regulations on ourselves. You know, it's a certain time of the day. Oh, so I should be dressed in daily clothes, or you know, what am I still doing in my PJs? Well,
it doesn't matter. Does it really matter at the end of the day? No, of course it doesn't. And it's interesting when we talk about the restrictions that we continually put upon ourselves. And again, they come from fear. You've only got to look at the number of insurance policies we've all got out there. Why do we have to take out an insurance against? Because our biggest fear is fear of loss, isn't it? Fear of losing our life, our loved ones, fear of losing our money, our jobs, our car, our house, fear of losing our relationship. It's a fear of losing face. It's a fear of losing our life. There's so much fear. And then we have to take out insurance policies to try and cover us. So we're all about wanting to protect ourselves and we want security and certainty. And it ain't never going to happen. And I think the pandemic is showing us that no matter how secure you think you are, you're not. You're just not. People have lost their jobs, lost their homes, they've lost their families. And we're relying on the outside world to make us feel secure and safe and well protected. When you and I know that when we tune in and we are one with Source, then that's our real protection. That's where we're really protected. That's our safety, and that's our guidance. And so I feel for those people that have had the opportunity to stay at home, some of them have taken that opportunity to go within to find that, where others are going nuts because they can't stay at home long enough. And there's two sides of, I've heard people say, I can't do this. I've just got to get out of the place. Where others are going, I need time to reassess my life. And so they are using that time to go within. And I think so it's a great opportunity when the world closes down in one way. I don't like it. Trust me, I don't like it one little bit. But to go in and to find those things. And we hear of parents finding new creative ways to work with their kids or to play with their kids. And as you said, people that are at home now find so much more time on their hands to do the things they like to do. So there's a lot of good coming out of this.
Absolutely.
And when you go, we've got that power. We have the power when we come from within. But when we come from fear, that's control. They're not the same as far as I'm concerned. So I think this whole thing is, it's not always easy though to for me anyway, I'll speak for me, to hold this point of view, to hold this way of thinking, because when something new comes up about the pandemic, about the COVID, then I can feel that trigger happening, and I'm going, and I want to react to that, and I want to go and protest or do whatever I would have done many years ago, and I have to stop now and going, what's been shown to me? Well, first of all, it's got to be fear, because if there's no fear, it can't trigger it. And so on. I think that's it. It's not, I've been saying, and some people have been saying, we've been driven by fear. Well, the fear's in here. There's no fear out there. People and events don't create fear. They actually reveal the fear. They trigger the fear as an opportunity for us to release. So now I have to look and go, what's this really all about? And once I've cleared the fear, I can choose. If I want to go to a protest or a march, so be it. I'm coming from a different place than a reaction. I'm coming from a place of love, not fear. So I think it's really important that every time we feel triggered, that we need to look at that. Instead of pointing the finger and going, you did this to me, we need to look at those three fingers coming back and going, what's this all about for me? This is for me, not to me, So yes, I think
that's a very, very good point, because so often it is easier to point the finger elsewhere. I might trip, and it's easy to blame the person who laid the footpath, rather than going, well, I need to watch where I'm walking. And I must admit, Marie, when I do trip, it's like, okay, was I looking too far ahead? And that's always a message to me to, okay, bring the thoughts back to the present.
Absolutely. And it's great to have a laugh when something like that happens. Yes. Go, oh, gee, where was I then? Where was I? So look, we keep looking at, so if we can keep looking at everything that happens to us take the 2 out and replace it with 4. This has happened for me. What's my lesson here? What can I learn? Show me the way. Show me how I can release this fear and step back into love, because we know the difference. We know the difference when we make decisions that come from love, self-love, as opposed to fear. And I think this whole thing is about getting back to that place. And if you think about, we talk about our beliefs, and if we're looking through the eyes of fear, we're going to constantly see if things happen in our world, the events happen in our world that are fearful. If we look through the eyes of love, we're going to constantly, those other fearful things might be there, but we're going to see more of the loving world that's out there. And so we don't have to react to the other stuff. We're going to constantly see more love that's in our world. And I think that's what we're aiming to get back to collectively. That's my opinion.
Right. Yes. I believe that we all have challenges. Let's face it, we've come down for the human experience. Yes. And COVID and what it has created in the world for the last 18 months or so is simply another challenge. And, some people are dealing with it very easily, and others are being triggered and find themselves immersed in fear.
Yes.
Yes, we have to bring it back to, I believe, to ourselves. What does this mean? What is this showing me? And that's why I loved what you had to say about, okay, let's have a look at what's happening as a reflection of what it's all about for me, and to appreciate and respect everybody's point of view, because we all have different perspectives, and it will be different for each of us.
Yeah.
However, yes, to realize, to ask the question, am I coming from fear? Am I coming from love?
Yeah, without judgment. And if our decision is still based on fear, so be it. I think the judgment is the hardest thing to let go of. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to go, oh my God, look at all the fear I'm in. It's okay. So, but the choice is, do I want to keep it or do I want to let it go? And that's all that really matters. Do I want to keep living my life from this place of fear, or do I want to shift over and live a different life now? And if so, put your hand up and go, hey, I'd love to shift this fear. I'd love to move into love. I'd love to focus. And that's it. Because I think this whole thing is actually a call from humanity. I think that one by one, or many people, whether they know it or not, have gone, what the hell's going on? Can we fix this? What's going on in my life? I don't want this anymore. Oh my God, my relationships are broken down. What's wrong? So we're asking, whether we know it or not, we're putting it out there, show me the way. And so the way is being shown, but in a very different way than we would expect it to, because we can't keep living from a place of fear and expecting to see a loving world out there. I mean, you and I both know, you're in Melbourne. I don't know what the weather's like, but it could be pouring with rain in Melbourne and sunny up here. And I can look out the window and go, what a fabulous day. And you could look out the window and go, oh my God, it's pouring with rain. But it's the same world. But so our worlds are different. Even you in Melbourne, me here. So our worlds out there are different. Our worlds in here are the same. When in spirit, that's the one place that we have equality. Everybody is exactly the same. Everybody, there's no one above, no one below. Equality exists on the inside. It exists in spirit. And can you imagine a world where we could project that equality into the world? That's all we have to do. Can you imagine if we all did that? Just projected the spirit of equality into this world. We wouldn't have to go through all that we're going through. We wouldn't have to write. We wouldn't have to do any of that. It's already here inside, but we're not projecting it. That's it. So fun times.
Absolutely. And isn't it? It's so easy to say. The challenge is living it. You know, we can know the theory, we can wax lyrical, as I often do, and then I think, okay, so walk the talk.
And you know, I've come to terms I don't always get it right. You know, I used to have to get it right. And I don't. And sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I think at the moment it feels good because I think I'm 3 steps forward and 1 step back. Because I know that when something else pops up, you know, that I don't like, I can feel myself slide back. But I'm aware of it now. And so that's when I just simply say, no, this isn't the truth. This is an opportunity for you to clear that, and then we can move forward again. But I've stopped judging it now. You know, before it was like an Olympic journey for me, and like a marathon, I had to get to the winning post. I was on my way to the winning post as fast as I could get there, and then beating myself up when I wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to move, wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see. Now I've stopped that, and I'm feeling a whole lot better in here. And of course, the better we feel about ourselves, because that's what it's all about. When we feel good about ourselves, that's all we've got to offer other people. And so it really, I feel it is keep everything we've got to keep bringing back to ourselves and seeing whatever's going on out there as a reflection of what's going on in here to one degree or another.
Yes, and it makes life so much better, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I know my life is far better when it's almost at times, you know how you have a dream about something and it seems a long way off, you know, and then suddenly it starts to get closer, it becomes more and more and more and more real. And I think when we go through things like COVID, it can just, that dreams, those goals, those desires can disappear somewhere so far away while we're in the muck. And I think right now, in fact, then all of this becomes real. What we sit in, the soup becomes real. And I think part of what happened for me initially certainly was that desire that I had disappeared. And so I'm stuck in the mud. When I looked for a desire, there wasn't one there. I got caught up in all of this. And so then the desire became one of fixing the problem, resolving it. And I think the more I was giving it my attention and my focus, of course, the bigger the problem was becoming, because what you focus on grows. Yes. And I had to retrain myself to go, Marie, go back to that desire and that dream that you had and just pick it, like, even if it's so faint and faded, bring it back, start to bring it back to life again. And so the more I bring that focus, that dream and that desire back to life, that becomes my focus, and this fight starts to fade away. The fear starts to fade away again. And probably like you, I go out now, I forget about there's a pandemic on. You know, I totally forget until someone reminds me, you know, or I happen to flick the radio on and the news comes up and go, oh, that's right. We've got this problem in the world, haven't we? So I think it's so important that we stop trying to resolve it to some degree, because the resolve comes from going back into our heart, looking at what it is we do want, and then the solutions will come from a place of peace. They don't come from a place of fear. They really don't. For me, not the correct solutions come from fear. The correct solutions come from love.
Absolutely. There needs to be more love in this world. Didn't the Beatles do well with those songs? Love, love, love.
How true. How true. And we've all got it. It's not like some have got it and some haven't. We've all got the same love, the same amount of love, the same oneness. We're all the same on the inside. And all we need to do is develop that, let it develop, let it unfold, just the way as we let anything else unfold. We have a dream over here, we let that unfold. We need to let that unfold, because you and I both know that in essence, we are all the same, and that essence contains love and kindness and creativity and protection and all the things that we need to be able to step out in faith is already within us, everything we need. And if we don't know that, we'll go outside of ourselves and we become needy on something in the outside world. And not to say we don't look to the outside world to support us, because of course we do, but we must come from here first. We mustn't substitute what's in here for what's out there, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, so often we hear, maybe we hear ourselves and hear other people saying, oh, I'll be happy when, da 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 da. And it's not a case of that. It's a case of, yes, as you say, going within and when do I feel happy, contented? And I'm very fortunate, Marie, because at the moment I can say I am absolutely delighting in life, and it's continuing as it does, lockdown or no lockdown. No, it's about what is it that I'm focusing on. I like that word because I know Rosemary and I presented a show on focus, because what we focus on grows. So therefore, if I'm going to live in fear, well then, yes, I'm just heightening that. Because if I can change my thinking, change my concentration, and especially when, I feel as though it's easy for me at the moment because, yes, I am very contented. However, it has taken a lot of work, and it takes work to continue that too, because we want it to become a habit.
Absolutely.
You know, this thinking, and the more we work on something, the more it does grow and become a way of life. So for those who are struggling, and we're well aware, aren't we, that there are lots of people out there in dire straits at the moment. It's a case of little steps, and to face our fears, to accept the fact that, yes, I am sitting in fear.
Yeah. And for me, I've painted the worst scenario. When I sit in fear, and do I struggle? I have my times of struggle. Absolutely, I do. I just feel I have the tools now to get through it. So when I look at what's been going on, and I've seen the worst scenario, and I've allowed myself to experience that fear to the fullest. This could happen, and this is possible, and what if this happens, and what if that happens? I let myself do it. Then when I'm done, I'm going, okay, now what if this happens, and what if this happens, and what if this happens, and wow, what if this happens? And I go, now which one do I want to follow, this one or this one? So I face my fears, and then I choose differently. And I think for anyone that's struggling, that would probably be what I'd suggest more than anything, is that face your fears full on. It's not a pleasant experience. It definitely isn't, but it won't kill you. Facing your fears won't kill you. And then once you face those, it's almost like there's a relief. You've painted the worst scenario. Now let's go and paint the best scenario. How else can I look at my life? You know, and as you say, when COVID is over, no, we can't wait for COVID to be over to be happy. Happiness is a decision. We need to wake up today and go, today I choose to be happy. Today I choose to be happy for no reason. And I know I have, and I'm sure lots of people have, woken up happy for no apparent reason. I find, oh my God, I feel so much joy today. I wonder why that is. I have no idea why. Why? Because I'm just letting it come. I'm just not blocking it. I'm not shutting it down. I'm not locking down what's inside of me. I'm just letting it come. And there's no apparent reason for it. And the more it comes up, the more I attract more joy into my life. And it is taking joy in the simple things in life, like in nature, doing a jigsaw, reading a book, listening to the birds. And last week I visited a friend, and she's got a granddaughter who's 16 months, and I was playing with this beautiful little girl. Oh my God, I had so much joy. And I woke up the next morning filled with joy and memories of me playing with this little girl. It was such a blessing. I just loved it, you know. So yeah, I feel that happiness is a choice. It's already here. We don't have to do anything out there to make us happy, because if that stops happening, and we've seen this with COVID, then we lose happiness. But if we can develop what's already inside of us, and then whatever comes to us out there is added to it, then if we lose what's going on outside in our world, we haven't lost happiness completely, because we remain, what's inside of us doesn't change, never goes away. It's always there. And I feel that's where we're at right now, is keep developing what's in here.
Indeed. Now, Marie, there's a couple of points. Annette has joined us, which is absolutely wonderful. And so welcome to Annette and everybody else who happens to be watching at the moment. And Annette is saying that we all do have times of fear, and she sees them as opportunities to love ourselves and move into trust.
Absolutely. Again, if we all trusted ourselves, wouldn't this be an amazing world? When we lose trust in ourselves, or we lose faith in here, then we put our trust in someone outside there. And we've lost something very, very special. So the more we trust ourselves, the more we can depend on the decisions we make, you know, for ourselves, and not question it so much. And that's been a big one for me. Self-trust is regaining that self-trust, that I do know what's right for me, that I do know the decisions I'm making are okay. But at the same time, be willing to go, oh, no, that was a mistake. Oh, no, I got that one wrong. So the fear of making a mistake, the fear of being wrong has haunted me in my life. And now I'm going, it's all right. Make a mistake.
I identify with that. I like to think of myself as Miss Perfect, and it really is a comeuppance when I suddenly go, oh, slipped up there.
Yeah, and to be okay with being wrong without beating myself up. You know, I go, oh, gee, I was wrong about that one. And then there are sometimes I find myself saying, well, this is what I believe, but by God, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about this one. So yeah, I think that self-belief and self-trust is just so important. And if I can just explain this in a way, because we're all human, okay? And I think that we don't always demonstrate that. I think because Hugh is an ancient name for God, and sometimes we can get caught up in this word God. I mean, people fear God so much they're running in the opposite direction. If only they knew they're just running away from who they are. So we can use any word. It matters not what word we use, because it's of no matter. And the word God does have no meaning until someone gives it a meaning. And so we can give it a good meaning or a bad meaning. It's entirely up to us what we choose. But if Hugh is an ancient name for God, and then man and is the power is unconditional, and it is our protection in life, then man then becomes was created in the image of God, or Hugh, and that's what makes us human. The combination of Hugh and man makes us human. Unconditional, unrestricted, unlimited, and that is the source of everything, and that is the pure potential. But then when man, for whatever reason, decides to separate themselves, divide themselves, distance themselves from God, they create their own law. Man's law is based on fear and control. They lose the power. It's control, not power, and it's fear, not love. So for whatever, but, you know, man got free will. They can do whatever they want. So my answer to all of this is simply for man to wake up to who they truly are, re-engage or remarry with God, or Hugh, and that makes us human again, and humanity will be restored. And to me, it's as simple as that. It's not simple, but it feels simple. And so I just feel that we just need to keep coming home to source, coming home to source, coming home to love. And the more we do that, the less will be pulled into the fear.
Gorgeous. Well, now Annette is mentioning Mike Dooley, gorgeous Mike, who is the universe, who sends out daily messages, should we like them or should we desire them. And Annette says, we never make mistakes. We make choices which feel or seem the best ones to us at the time, which then brings us to who we are now and the opportunities we have.
So true. So true. It's interesting because we know it's feedback. You know, if we want to go back to the word mistake, I mean, I know there are people out there that won't employ people that haven't made mistakes. They said they haven't lived. You have to make we call them mistakes for the time being, or feedback, so that we can learn from them and we can grow. If how else do you grow? You'll never make a decision if you're afraid of making mistakes. And I've sat on the fence many times in my life, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of doing something wrong or being wrong, and I've done nothing. So, no, that doesn't work either. We can't live if we don't step out and do something and be willing to fall over and pick ourselves back up again.
Now, Maz Barnes has joined us as well. And she's go and now. Isn't it lovely? We are so fortunate with technology and how we can reach out to people and share our ideas, no matter where we are in the world. I was fortunate to be speaking to somebody in New York City this morning. It was as though they were next door.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
We are so blessed.
And I think the more we keep seeing the blessings in life, the more the problems just fade away to nothing. Fade away. And I'm speaking from experience, because boy, I know, I mean, I think I've mentioned this to you before, 25 years ago when I got sick, I threw my arms in the air and said, okay, that's it. I'll do whatever it takes to heal my life. It was not about healing the illness. It was about healing my life. So I must have known something then. I had no idea the journey I was about to embark on. But it was one of coming home. It was one of raising faith, because I threw my arms in the air and said, what now? What's going on? And the answer was as clear could be. We are raising faith and lowering fear until faith is stronger and fear is no longer. That became my motto for life. It became the foundations of my work. And that. Can you
say that again, please, Marie?
We are raising faith and lowering fear until faith becomes stronger and fear is no longer. And that's the word. They were the words that came back to me. And so that's been my dream, because I remember back in all those years ago, my fear was up here and my faith was down here. And so I've had to do this, and thankfully my faith has risen, and there's still fear there. Of course there is. But my faith is stronger. And I know that my life has been enriched because of it. So again, I feel that if people can look at their level of faith, compare it with their level of fear, and go, which one do I want? And really embrace faith and really develop it, in their own unique way. And I think we agree with this. There's no right or wrong way of developing what's in here. Nothing. If you want to stand on your head and sing ding-a-ling-a-loo and it works for you, fantastic. If you want to go to church, fantastic. It matters not how you do it. For me, it's the commitment to come home to who you truly are. That wholeness, that completeness, that oneness. And that stops the separation. That separation we keep looking at, that distancing, that when we come home to love, there's no separation in here, there's no separation out there.
Oh, it makes so much sense, Marie, doesn't it?
Thank you for letting me share this.
Sorry?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it. It's wonderful for me.
Well, I think this is so important. Angel Heart Radio has such an important role to play in allowing us to share our ideas, and through sharing, hopefully, we're not only helping ourselves, we're helping others, because we're all on journeys, and it's so important for us to identify with ourselves and to embrace ourselves as we are today, knowing that, yes, we are going to continue to learn and to grow and to become the best human beings that we can be.
And when you look at the word challenge, it contains the word change. And so every challenge is a time for change. That's the way I look at it, particularly the bigger the challenge. If there's a big challenge, let's have a look at what I need to change within this challenge. So I think that we're all here to grow. We're all here to share. And somebody said to me the other day, yeah, but you know, how many people listen? I said, I have no idea. Got no idea how many people listen. But if one person listens, that's enough. If one person listens and they know 1,000 people, how good is that?
Yeah.
No. So we have no idea how far the ripples will flow. None whatsoever. That's called faith. We do something on the basis of, well, I'm going to do this, and if I reach one person, well, that'll be lovely. But don't underestimate the ripples of what's going on. We know the ripples of fear. We know it. We all know the ripples of fear. But why cannot the ripples of love and the ripples of sharing on a higher consciousness also ripple out there just as far?
Absolutely. Yes. And they are saying sharing positivity with kindness and love helps us all grow.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
So, well, look, thank you, Marie. I hope that we have inspired as well as entertained. I hope that people have got a laugh along the way.
I hope so. Because one of the things I've had to do is lighten up too. You know, I found that, when I look back over my life, boy, I played a good role as being a victim. I really did. I had played my role so well. I look back and said, you should have been in the movies, Marie. You would have played it so well, you know. And then I'd swing. It's like there's a pendulum, and then suddenly I swung into being the rescuer. And it's like, now I've got to rescue the world. Now I know this stuff. And I'm going, wow, so you should have been in the movies, Marie. You're like a good rescuer. And so it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, rescue a victim, until finally I found new neutrality, and I don't have to be a victim and I don't have to rescue. I can just share. And there's a big difference, there's a big difference, because I don't think our world needs rescuing. I think our soul needs rescuing, or within ourselves, we have to do our own rescuing in here, but that's it. If everybody focuses on rescuing the love that's within here, that's it. That's what we have to do. And I think that's where the sharing comes in. Save ourselves. If there's anyone to save, just save ourselves. And that alone will be enough. It's a hard one for me to get, but I have to keep reminding myself.
Oh, and me too. I know the minute I learn something, the whole world has to know about it. Whereas
Yes, yeah.
Well, there's my phone in the background.
I'm proud of what you and Annette are doing. I think you're doing a wonderful job. So thank you so much for sharing in such a beautiful way.
Oh, that is my pleasure, and it's been a delight. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate the sharing that has happened, and it goes on, doesn't it? So thank you, everybody. Let's get out there and let's spread the kindness and remember ourselves in there. That's the important part as well.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Bless all of you. Be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Thanks, Annette. All the best.
Okay, I'll see you next week,
everyone.
Bye.